your strength. And we say thank you. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen, amen, and amen. You know, in Psalms 107:1, it says, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His love endureth forever. You know, if you have an opportunity to read that Psalm 107, and see how God goes and pull the people out of their mess, pulls them out of the sea, pulls them out of poverty, pulls them out of hurt and pain and prison and shame. Our God says in Psalms 107, oh, that men would praise him. Oh, that they would lift up that name of Jesus Christ. Because you know what? Jeremiah 29:11 says it right plainly. He says, for I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future. Why don't you call on him? He knows what tomorrow holds. He knows it. You know why? Because he holds tomorrow. You know, greater is he that is in me, so I will lift him up. You cannot be afraid to lift up the Lord in front of people. Don't be afraid to testify of the goodness of God, because someone needs to know that he has brought you through. He has brought you through hell and high water. He has brought you through shame and grief and disappointment and trouble and shame and hurt and pain. He has brought you through trials and tribulations. He has brought you through famine. He has brought you through poverty. He has brought you through discouragement, distress. He has brought you through so many things that is unable, you can't name them all. Because see, fear, you got to remember, fear has two meanings. You can forget everything that God has done, or you can face everything and rise. It's your choice. When you face everything, you know what God can do. You know what he's done in the past, how he's walked you through doors that was closed. He's walked you through the doors that people said will never be open. And he has closed those doors to those stories that you thought were never ending. That's the power of our God, my brothers and sisters. Nothing shall be impossible. Nothing shall be impossible. God has given us power, that agape love and the mind of Christ. There will be battles that you will have to fight, battles that are unavoidable, spiritual and physical. You're going to face some giants, my brothers and sisters. You're going to face some hurt and some pain and some shame. But you need to get dressed, because there is a battle to fight. Put on the full armor of God and be ready. Suit up, armor up, man up, my brother. Come on, my sisters, get ready, because you know what? You're going to have to put on your grandmother combat boots, because she knew that there was a way out of her mess, and it was JESUS.
Where can you buy a brand new Nissan with a lifetime warranty? Kingston Pike. Hey folks, Gerald Anderson with Ted Russell Nissan. You heard it right. Every new Ted Russell Nissan comes with a lifetime warranty, and that's a long, long time. Ted Russell Nissan on Kingston Pike.
Good morning and welcome to AM 1380 WYSH and Ask Your Neighbor. Ask Your Neighbor can also be heard and seen on our website, WYSHradio.com. And if you are in Anderson, Rome, or Morgan County and have Comcast cable, you can watch Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV Channel 12. Ask Your Neighbor is the program where you call in and do just that. Ask Your Neighbor. Do you have a comment? Do you have a problem? Or do you have a question? Then call in and ask your neighbor. 865-457-1380 or toll free at 877-711-4005. And for those of you that might be listening or watching on the internet, you can email from our website, WYSHradio.com. Just click on the Contact Us button and email your questions. Now sit back and listen as listeners throughout East Tennessee and the entire world answer your your questions on Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV 12 and AM 1380 WYSH.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome into a Wednesday edition of Ask Your Neighbor. Normally, we're just moving you all over the days. You know what I mean? Yep. You're supposed to be here on a Tuesday, and we put Rex in here, and then we had something. But you're here on Wednesday. We got a lot going on.
We're flexible.
Well, thank you for being here. Stephanie Wells, our Director of Tourism in the county, is in here, and we're going to talk about all the things that we've got going on. This time of year, with it being fall, we know we have a lot going on. Then we've got the holidays.
Yes.
We seem to kind of peak, but then, January, February,
gets a little slow. Yeah, it gets a little slow. Everybody kind of hibernates.
Yes.
And,
recoups.
Yes.
From the holidays and all the other stuff that's going on. So what do we have happening going on in the county, dear?
Well, we've got this weekend is the Christmas open house in downtown Clinton.
Yes.
So I was watching social media. I can't remember what I was watching. We were talking about how many there's so many out there nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching something. I was watching Molly from Hoskins in the Flat put together an arrangement, and I was like, she made that look so easy, and it was gorgeous. So I know they're all getting ready this week for the Christmas open house. All of the stores are getting ready. So if you get a chance before the season gets crazy, get down there and check it out and buy something to decorate your house this year.
That'd be nice.
That's Friday and Saturday.
So that's getting kicked off. Wow.
Yes.
The first and the second. Here we go.
Well, it's so weird, but this holiday season I think is a little strange because Thanksgiving is so late, so that makes Christmas seem like it's such a short period of time.
Yeah.
So plan ahead.
My wife's already told me. I can tell you what we're doing this weekend. We're putting up the Christmas tree. She's like, I'm getting it out. We're putting it up. I did it on November 1st last year, and I'm doing it this year.
Yep. Well, Halloween's over.
There you go. Halloween's over. It's Christmas.
So, right.
We just skipped Thanksgiving.
I know.
But yeah, we'll be starting decorating this weekend. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
So the Christmas in downtown.
Yes.
Okay.
And then November is kind of a slow month too. But on the 23rd, the Secret City Half Marathon and 5K.
Yes.
And this is a fundraiser for our partners at Explore Oak Ridge.
Okay.
So I know Clinton just did their 5K. What was last weekend or the weekend before? They all run together anymore. But it was a fundraiser for them. I think they pick different projects, and I think some of it goes to the schools.
I think it's for the schools, but I don't know which ones get it.
For the Education Foundation and stuff like that gives out a lot of money for supplies and teacher supplies and those kind of things. So, but this is, Explore Oak Ridge is a little bit different than us. We are part of Anderson County government. They're kind of attached to their city government, but they're separate. I think it's like a 501c6 or something like that. So they receive a portion of the hotel motel tax, but they also do fundraisers to raise money for their promotion of the city.
So that's kind of like what, a public-private cooperation?
Yes, kind of. And I think they also pick a charity to partner with that. I'm not sure who that is this year, but it's all on our website as usual. You can go check that out too. But if you're a runner, this is another opportunity for you to get out there and run.
And they run down the river, don't they?
They do. They're Mountain Hill Lake. Yeah. Yes. And the picture, you can see the moisture, whatever fog or whatever rolling off the river. So it's a really good scenery too. And then the leaves are beautiful. So that time of the year you can kind of see a lot. I guess the leaves will be gone by then, but
and when is
you
that?
Can see November the 23rd.
Okay.
But I like the winter time too because you can see things that you don't normally see
because the leaves are
behind
gone.
the trees. so it'll be beautiful down there.
Yes, it'd be nice.
So, and also in Oak Ridge, the Oak Ridge Playhouse is doing Cinderella. It's starting November the 29th.
Okay.
And I think tickets go on sale the 4th of November, but if you haven't been to the Oak Ridge Playhouse to see one of their productions, you need to check it out.
That would be nice.
So, and that would be a good one for the kids.
Cinderella?
Also, Cinderella.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
I always that little song the mouse sings go through my head every time I say that. So then we kick off for the first weekend of December with the parades.
Okay.
So Rocky Top Parade will be on Friday night, and then Clinton Parade will be that Saturday, and I think that's the 6th. Is that the 6th and the 7th? The first weekend of December.
Okay, I believe.
So as we both pull up our calendars here.
Yeah, that's what I have to do.
It
would be.
6th.
Friday the 6th, Saturday the 7th. Okay.
And the 7th.
Okay.
So the Rockets, they have the same theme. We do that because a lot of people participate in both of the parades. So it's Christmas at the movies. So that just is kind of wide open. You can decorate, with the Grinch. You can do,
whatever you want.
That's the one that comes to my head the most. But I mean, there's
Elf.
a lot of Elf. What's the one where the little boy
Home Alone
licks the pole?
Christmas Story.
Yes,
the Christmas Story. That's awesome.
So find you a leg lamp. So there's a lot of options. My husband would probably do Christmas Vacation.
That would be great.
That's one of his favorite ones. So there's numerous ones out there.
Yes.
But a lot of variety. So choose well.
Christmas at the movies.
Yes.
And when is Oak Ridge? Do you know when Oak Ridge is?
Theirs is the 14th,
okay.
The next weekend, the next Saturday.
Okay.
So, and that's put on by the Oak Ridge Chamber. I was just looking at that the other day. All their information is on their website. The City of Clinton, all of these parades, if you want to participate, you can register ahead of time online. I believe Clinton and Oak Ridge requires you to register online. We still register in person for the Rocky Top Parade. So, but all the information is there online.
Okay.
Also, what you can and can't do, but you have to register.
Okay.
So it's a liability.
Yeah, I've got to get us registered for the cars. So that and this the historic societies who put.
Yes, the Downtown Main Street program is the one that does the one for Clinton.
Yes, ma'am.
So. But I think you can just Google Christmas Parade and find it, or we have a link on our website also.
Okay.
And then same thing with Oak Ridge and Rocky Top. So we're a little behind on getting information out. The Rocky Top Chamber in the city does that parade, and we're a little bit behind on getting the information out there, but it'll be out there by this weekend.
Okay.
So.
Good.
I just saw this the other day too. December the 17th, Little Ponderosa is doing their live nativity. So it's a drive-through.
Okay.
For their live nativity.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Are they a 501c3?
They are.
I thought so.
Yes, because they're also a rescue.
Yes.
When James was alive, we had the opportunity to go down there several times and tour. And we've been there since and worked with the boys. But we took the opportunity to tour that facility, and he had such a passion for rescuing those animals. So he said that's what a lot of people don't think about, because we took a travel writer there, and she was very upset because of the animals and the zoo situation, and so he spoke with her, and he said, listen, you need to realize that a lot of these animals would have been
dead.
Yes, they would have gone to sleep, if we didn't take them. So we get calls from all over. I know all over Tennessee. I'm not sure if they go broader than that.
I can recall him traveling out of state to pick up tigers, some of the exotics.
Yes.
I remember him talking to me too. Don't we have a tiger rescue in Harriman as well?
Down that
area?
I'm not sure. There may be. But, a lot of people purchase these animals and think it's a good idea to have an exotic animal. Yeah. Birds can be, especially some of the big birds and some of these snakes. That can really get out of control quick if you don't know what you're doing. So he's been called in, a lot of times by TWRA or I think some situations have been where their owner may have gotten arrested and needed somebody to take this exotic animal. So he really had a passion for that.
I've never been to their live nativity.
Yeah.
I've never done that. I would like to do that. I think kids would like that too. Yep. And you drive through it.
You drive through. It's a drive-through. So
how do they do that? Where do they drive?
Well, if you go, you're on a little road going around through there anyway. So
the trail, it's the same trail that like we walk through.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't realize it was big enough for a car. That's interesting. Yeah. That might be fun. And do you know what the cost for that is?
I don't. I didn't see it on their website. But it would probably just be regular admission.
Okay. Cool.
So.
So that's 12:17. Do you know what time that is?
I did put that on our website too. As I'm telling you about the next one, I can look it up.
Okay. We can look it up. I can find it. I'm sure it's going to be in the evening sometime.
Yes, and it's a Thursday night.
Okay.
So, and I think it ended. I think it ends early, like 8 o'clock.
Okay.
So it doesn't run real late. So still got time to get the kids home.
Oh yeah. If you don't have to get out of the car, just cruise around, drive in, drive out. That sounds pretty fun.
So 6 to 8.
Thank you.
Yes.
6 to 8. All right.
Yep.
Good.
So,
what else we got happening, man?
Also, December the 14th is Christmas in the Park at North Dam State Park. They've done this event for several years. It used to be around the tea room area and the cabins, but they've moved it down to the Lenore Museum.
Okay.
So they will have a pie auction. So all the proceeds from the pie auction goes to support the park. You can also bring a donated food item. You can bring a food item to donate.
Yes.
They give that to the Norris Food Bank. So there's a couple opportunities to give there this Christmas, and there's live music. It's a great event for the kids. The Rangers will be there to read a book to the kids. They'll also do a ornament decoration with the kids. So I kind of think about it a little bit on a version of like the event that they do in Knoxville, Fantasy of the Trees.
Yeah.
You go around to the different stations.
Sure.
The kids can do activities. So it's a smaller scale of that, but it's
and that's
nice little setting.
12/18?
It is the 14th of December.
14th
of December.
Okay.
So at the Lenore Museum area.
Okay.
And there's some handicap parking down at the grist mill. They're kind of using the grist mill, the threshing barn, all of that threshing. I can't say that with my braces. Threshing barn. And so there's a couple of handicap parking down there. And then there's some, I know I was up there the other day and it looked like they're making that area a lot more handicap accessible to get across the bridge. So they were there pouring some concrete. So you'll be able to access that area.
All right.
So, and then the Museum of Appalachia has their Candlelight Christmas. They do this every year also on December the 20th.
They've got some coming up on the 31st, don't they?
They have their Fall Heritage Day.
Gotcha.
So there were several of them. I was up there the other day for a meeting while they were having one, and it was controlled chaos.
Really?
I mean, it was awesome. So
Lots
the
of
kids
people.
running everywhere. It's some of us of our generation grew up with a lot of these things.
Yeah.
Our grandparents were still doing, had animals or we're still
Made
doing
sorghum.
some of these things. But kids today, they've never seen these things. So it's totally foreign to a lot of them. So making butter, quilting.
All of that.
I can remember my aunt and my great aunt and my grandmother quilting and sewing, and then they made our clothes.
Sure.
They made Afghans and taught me to crochet and all those kind of things. So
I've still got I guess they're called doilies, but my great aunt made me when I got my first house. She made it for me.
Yeah. So, and they don't realize, even cotton. I mean, I was talking with John, and he was like, kids don't realize that from a piece of cotton, how do you turn it into this to make it this?
Yeah.
Make it, that you're walking around wearing.
You're wearing it.
So,
that's cool.
It's really cool to see.
But their Christmas program is on the 20th?
December the 20th.
Okay.
But I think they do still have some tickets for their, for the 31st.
Okay.
Event, the Fall Festival.
Gotcha.
Or the Fall Heritage Days is what they call them. So,
okay.
And I think they have some videos that they posted online of some of the activities that you can see. So, and we know that the campground over there is now open.
Yay.
So,
how's that doing, by the way?
It's doing good.
Good.
It's doing good.
Good.
So I think it's just going to gain in popularity too.
Oh, sure,
so.
It'll grow. All right. What else do we have happening, ma'am?
That's all I have.
That's going into the season. That's enough.
List. Yes.
I mean, with the Christmas parades and all the other things that's going on, it's going to be a busy season. Yes.
So get all your shopping done early so that you can just take time during Christmas and.
We always say this too. I encourage everybody. I know people are going to use Amazon. They're going to do that, but try your best if you can. Shop local.
Yes.
Go out and support some of these mom and pop businesses. Yeah.
Well, and the Museum of Appalachia has a great gift shop, and across the road, the Appalachian Arts.
Yeah.
I usually try to pick up a couple of things for people there because you're not going to find that anywhere else.
Yeah, that's very
Nobody's going to already have that. It's something that they have some great pottery, just all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
So, and that's all handmade. It's all made by their members.
Artisans.
I think they have like 500 members or something crazy.
Really?
So yes, from all over the area.
That's cool.
So, And if you're looking to, I mean, if that's something that you really want to get into, just any kind of handcraft, check with them. They have classes. They have groups that meet.
I didn't know that.
Yes. In their basement, they have the big looms down there. They have a big quilting square.
I don't think I've ever been in it. I took the boys up there when they were taking music lessons, fiddle and guitar, and it was just right down the street from that, but I've never been in it. So
yes.
I'll have to check that out.
You just stop in there.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, I mean, if you're thinking, I'd really like to pick up a hobby, they can teach you. So they have the pottery wheel, they have the kilns, all of that stuff. The big, I don't know what they're called, the big oven things that you put the pottery in.
Ovens?
I cannot remember the name, but anyway, my sister will kill me because she used to do that. And they used to have one, but most people don't have those anymore, just sitting around. So it's a good resource too for, if you want to take up that activity, you can go do that.
Okay, good. Well, there's plenty of things to do, plenty of things to get out and see, on top of just all the regular things that we talk about, where you've got the museums and you've got all the other stuff that we have to do here on the Christmas.
Absolutely.
When do we have the tree lighting in Clinton? Do you know? We're doing that this year?
That's usually that first weekend too, with the parade.
Yes. I haven't heard anything about that.
Yes. I know Rocky Top is doing theirs on that Thursday before the parade, the 5th. They actually had to cut down the tree that they usually use, but they have ordered a tree.
Why did they have to cut down?
Because it was dead. It was dead. It was going to fall, and it would have fallen into the road. And it really wasn't. I don't think it was like a true Christmas tree, but they had to cut down the tree they used. But they've ordered one. I think it's going to be gorgeous. I just continue to do that.
I just found out yesterday we were trying to get information on Veterans Day.
Yes.
Boy, I miss Leon. I'll tell you that, because he got us information. But the Veterans Day parade is coming up on the 9th. They're going to have it after the breakfast on the 9th. Got that coming up. And then they asked us they're having a free Thanksgiving dinner for veterans on November 21st. At the American Legion building here on Spring Street. We got that stuff going on too. So I just got that up on the community bulletin board today. So we got that going on.
And I know we have this on our sign. We don't put all the events, especially if they're geared toward just locals, on our website, but we try to put them on our sign if they're a community event. We don't advertise yard sales or anything like that, but I will put the Veterans Breakfast on there. I didn't have that information. And there's a turkey shoot. The Lions Club does a turkey shoot every year, also up in the Norris area. So I'll send you the information for that too.
Social media is good.
It is,
but it also, I think sometimes it also hampers. I think we get lazy. We don't get the information out because, like I said, we did. Jasper said, "Are we having a Veterans Day parade?" And the first word I was like, "Oh, I haven't heard from." Oh, no wonder I haven't heard from Leon. He's in Hawaii. Yeah. And so we reached out to Scott, and then they sent us over to the American Legion. So Mr. Farmer came up, David Farmer, who's the head of that right now, and brought us this information. So we appreciate that. So like I said, social media is great. But
well, and people tell me, I've heard this along the way. You say, well, now that Facebook's out, you don't have to worry about advertising in any other way. I'm like, no, not really, because we all get our information in different ways and different sources. And traditional media is still just as
important as it was
as social media.
Well, it's repetition.
You're in radio stations. You're sitting in your car. You're driving. You got the radio on. You're listening, and you're hearing a lot of things. I don't know how many times you're not even realize that you're hearing it.
Absolutely.
And you get that information, and then same thing.
Well, it's at the very least, it's the repetition of seeing it. If you see it on social media, read it on social media, and then all of a sudden you turn around and you hear it on the radio, it just, it reestablishes. Hey,
what is the stat that you have to hear something like 8 times?
Five times? People have to hear something 5 times before they even recognize it, unless it's something immediate. If you're sitting on the side of the road with a flat tire and you hear an ad come on for new tires, that catches your attention.
Right.
But if you're just driving down the road and you hear an ad for tires, and it goes in one ear and out the other until you need it. So it takes about 5 times of hearing something, repeating it, before it becomes relevant to you. And then sometimes it's only relevant if you need it.
Right.
So It's still out there. So, yeah, we encourage people. I say it all the time. Send us your stuff so that we can get it on the air. And we don't charge anybody to do that as long as it's nonprofit or church group, civic organization. Right. So get them out there. All right. Anything else? What else you want to tell folks about?
And if I missed something, like I said, please let me know. There's a lot going on. A lot of times we'll hear about it afterwards. I'm like, why didn't you tell me? But, same thing. Why didn't you tell me beforehand? We could have got the information out there. We're happy to promote anything that we can.
Well, see, I a lot of times I go to your website and I'll say, okay, I'm going to pull that off and put that, you know what I mean? Yes. Stuff like that. Like I've had the marathon, the 5K stuff on our site. Just let people know. Yeah. And we started here a few weeks ago. We fixed it up where when we go live on BBB, it also goes live on Facebook too now.
Yes.
So it's like Facebook Live, and so our audience, you can sit here, I can watch how click, 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 click. We had 115 people listening to us on the stream
That's
on
where
Facebook today. Yeah. So it was, it get your stuff out because we combine with social media, in conjunction with current media, radio, TV, newspapers, social media. You want to get your message out to everything.
Absolutely.
Especially those of us that don't charge.
Absolutely.
Some folks charge to do that, but
they do.
We don't.
They do.
All right.
And we also push our events out to other resources too.
Sure.
Usually we'll send them to Southern Living. We send them to the Tennessee Farm, which is the Farm Bureau magazine. So there's other Blue Ridge Country. There's other places that we send the information.
Sure.
So especially our tourist events. So.
Do we have, do these, I know we've measured the economic impact, but do you have a direct correlation when you send stuff out that people respond to it and you see it working? And what works best for you guys getting it out? Is it social media right now because of the reach?
A lot of it is social media right now. We also have a e-newsletter that we send out. I think we have over 50,000 people registered to receive that e-newsletter. Cool. So a lot of times when we send that out, we'll see a big spike.
Okay.
But we do measure what we put out on social media. We always link our website.
Yes.
So to get them back to our website and then hopefully looking around. So we measure how many people came from Facebook, how many people come from Instagram, how many people come from YouTube. So we can see, how many people are actually clicking through.
Yeah, back in the old days, you would have to target a market and try and advertise in or get messaging that to that particular market.
Yes. Well, we had a meeting yesterday with our platform that we use, which uses cell phone data. Okay. Now they're pulling in credit card information, so they can tell you how much people are actually spending with a credit card.
So do they follow the phone and that phone's credit card? How do they do that?
I have no idea.
I know how they do the phones. Yes. I know how they ping the phones.
Yes. I don't think it's a direct correlation like your phone and your credit card.
Okay.
I just think they're taking that credit card information and can kind of tell you how much money is spent in your area and then how many visitors you have with your phone.
With this new
the phone. But we were talking about when I first started. We depended on the reader response cards in the magazines. We also we sent out surveys to anybody that requested information, and then we begged TDOT to put out the little traffic counters. Yeah. That was how we could tell you how many people drove by our exit or how many people got off our exit.
Yeah.
It's like now I can just pull it up and I can put a little dot right here and tell you how many people have visited this spot.
It's geofencing.
Crazy.
It is
crazy. And then how much money was spent and how long they were here. And where did they go after? Where were they before? So the Buc-ee's in Kentucky is very popular for our visitors. So they're
really
yes. So they stop there. So from an advertising perspective,
gotcha.
You could say, okay, I'm going to put a billboard right there at that Buc-ee's. There's one
on
your
way down.
Exactly. So maybe when they're getting back on the interstate, they see our information. So it's
fascinating.
It's crazy, and the same, and you can boil it down to what kind of visitors. We geofenced Windrock and figured out what their visitors were, what their likes were, what social media they're looking at, what magazines they're looking at, what TV shows they're watching. It's crazy.
And then you're able to more readily target what
exactly.
We do that. We offer that service of geofencing, and it was funny because I was talking to somebody one day, and they said, well, how specific can you get? I said, I can get all the way down to an office.
Yes.
I can geofence an office. And if a person with Google, Facebook, Instagram, I can't remember what all they were, walks into that office and their phone is on, I'll collect that information and or they'll receive, we can push out a message. You know what I mean? So literally I had a car dealer. He said, I want to geofence. I want to put a message on anybody that walks into this dealership.
Oh, yeah.
So you walk into one dealership and you get a message from another that says, "Don't pay too much. Come to see us."
Yes. Yep.
I was like, man, that's. I mean, it's amazing.
It's not a coincidence that you're seeing those ads.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's just not a coincidence.
So
they're not reading your mind.
And you guys do that? Do you push the messages out, or do you just collect the data back?
Okay. Both. So, for example, we've done the boat shows.
Yeah.
We've geofenced the boat shows, and so if you go to the boat show and when you leave there, you get a message, you get an ad served saying
something about North Lake.
Anderson County. Have you been to North Lake? Da, 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 da. And then when they actually visit any place in Anderson County that we have geofence, so they stay at the Holiday Inn or they go to the Walmart or anything like that in Anderson County, then we know that they visited.
You can track that.
And the same thing, like we've geofenced the Bass Pro at Opry Mills. So we just wanted the Bass Pro. We didn't want everything else. So we narrowed it down to the Bass Pro.
Who does that for you?
Our ad agency does it.
Citizens. Who's the Citizens ad agency? Is that, they're in Knoxville, aren't they?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. It's fantastic. That's cool. So, well, great. Busy. I mean, it'll calm down here in a month or so.
Well, really, for me, this is a busy season because we're already putting our information out for next year. We're already starting our ads.
It kicks up in March, doesn't it?
Yeah. Our ads start January the 15th, and I mean, people are already making plans. People made plans last year to come this year. So, if you've not some of the lake houses, some of the condos, if you've not already booked, I'm not sure that you'll be able to get anything. So, I can remember years ago when we used to go to the boat show with Jim and Miles from Miles from Mountain Lake. They would bring their books. They would bring their houseboat calendars and lay them out, and people would come by and book their show, but book their week at the lake and on a houseboat at that show.
That's crazy.
So and now it's like I said, they're doing it through VRBO or Airbnb or whatever. So I actually found about a new website the other day where if you have a camper, if you have a farm, you can register on this site to allow people with campers to come and stay on your farm.
Well, I found one where you can let people use your car when you're not using it.
Yes. or your house or what. Yeah.
Destiny's husband, Tracy's daughter, her husband Toby, he was like, "Have you seen this website, this app?" And I'm like, "What is it?" He says, you can basically, it's like a VRBO for your car.
Yes.
And people are, making all kinds of money renting their cars. It's like, holy cow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I guess so.
It's crazy. But we were at a conference. We were at a rural development conference last week, I think, or week before last, in Union City. And they were talking a lot about agritourism and just you got a lot of people that are coming back to farming now.
Really?
And so there's so many different ways to kind of mix in tourism with that business that's very successful. So,
odd question for you. We were talking before we went on air, we're in this heated political season, and it seems like everything that is, does that impact at all? Have you, because a lot of times in our business and some of the other businesses, people get a little trepidatious before an election because, if one person wins, the climate's going to be like this. If another person wins, so everybody kind of pulls back or goes into a holding pattern. Do you see that in the tourism business at all?
Well, and this is interesting too because again we were looking at a new on our platform where we can track information. We were looking at something that they're offering with the credit card information, and I'm taking a long way around to answer this question. But what I found interesting was the people that visit the most are not the ones that were spending the most. So we had Nashville is where most of our visitors come from, and if you look, especially in the area that we were looking at for this example, but Nashville is where they mostly come from. But Cincinnati was like number 6 in our visitation, but they spent more than number 1.
Gotcha.
So the people that came from Cincinnati spent more money than the people that came from Nashville.
Gotcha.
So I found that very interesting.
Do you think it's because they stay? Well, it's about the same distance.
Exactly. It's 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they just have more disposable income. And our visitation was higher in October last year than it was in June and July for this area.
Oh, wow.
And if you looked at the demographics, it was because it was an older demographic, and they spent more money during that time than they spent in the summer. So again, I mean, baby boomers have more disposable income, spend a little bit more money, those kind of things. So I just found that interesting, because you can say, oh, well, we had 1 million visitors in July. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't necessarily always mean that that's where your highest profit
money
was.
Comes from.
So I thought that was very interesting. But what we were also seeing is visitation is up, but spending is down. And we saw that in 2008 with the recession. I mean, nobody wants to say we're in one. I don't even know if we're in one or not. But I do know that milk costs a lot more than it did a couple of years ago.
Inflation is killing everything.
Yes. So more than the election, I think that's what affects tourism. People will still travel. You know, I've been doing this job since 2001. I started right before 9/11, and people said, "Oh, well, that's just killed the tourism industry. Nobody's going to fly. Mm-hmm. You know, that's just killed the tourism industry." Our tourism went up in East Tennessee, overall in East Tennessee, because it's a great drive-to market. It's a cheap market.
Yeah.
You know, there's all of our activities are reasonably priced. I don't want to say cheap. They're reasonably priced.
Sure.
And you get
affordable.
a lot of bang for your buck.
Yeah.
Exactly. Absolutely. So.
And our location doesn't hurt either.
No, it doesn't. I think we're within an 8 hours drive of like 70% of the United States population.
Yeah.
So it's a really easy drive. So I think what we're going to see over the next couple of years as the economy tries to balance itself out is people are still going to travel. You're still going to get those visitation numbers. Those are still going to go up, but they may spend a little bit less. Or because they have to spend more money on the hotel, they may spend a little less money in your gift shop.
Well,
So, and that's what, I remember having this conversation with the Museum of Appalachia in 2008 and other attractions in 2008. They're like, they're still coming. They're still coming through the door, but maybe they're not buying our gift shop sales are struggling, or they're not eating at our restaurant, or they're deciding, I think 2008 is when the fast casual restaurants really started taking a boom.
Yeah.
So instead of going into the really sit down finer dining, they're picking up Five Guys and going to the park and eating lunch.
Yeah.
Or they're not eating lunch, or they're taking advantage of that hotel breakfast, and then they're maybe eating a late lunch or something like that. So I think you're still going to see it, or they're drinking water instead of soft drinks,
Not always your number one is not always your most profitable. Well, I was talking to our staff the other day, and everybody always wants to talk about ratings. What's the top rated radio station or whatever? And I showed them the number 8 rated radio station in Washington, D.C., makes the most money of any radio station in the United States of America, and it's the number 8 station. They make $70 million a year, and so I said, so being the most listened to or whatever,
right?
It's being the most effective, and what you're able to do. It's the same thing. If you're getting more money out of Cincinnati, but you're getting twice the number out of Nashville, it's not always catering to that market to get the most.
Exactly.
You want to get the best quality.
Exactly.
Speaking of that, how does it work with the private partnership, public-private partnership like Aspire with you guys? I mean, do they send you information? Are they just like the museum or anybody else that we're working on?
Yes.
And what kind of response, what kind of inquiries are you starting to get anything on that yet? Has it started?
We're hearing a lot of.
I know they had their laser show last night.
A lot of questions. I mean, there's just activity, a lot of activity on Facebook, and they're doing a very good job of answering a lot of questions and putting the information out there and letting everybody know what's going on too. But yes, I mean, because we're part of Anderson County government, we don't take money. You know, we will promote everybody equally.
Sure.
We will work with everybody, and you don't have to pay us.
Sure.
And that's what, a lot of times when I go and sit down and talk to attraction, they're like, okay, what do you want? And I'm like, I just want your information. And I think that's great. I mean, that's the part. I'm not a salesperson. I'm a very bad salesperson. I don't like it. It's not comfortable for me. And so, I don't have to sell us. We're here to help you. We're here to give information out. And, somebody called the other day. I can't even remember it was not tourism related. I was like, why are you calling me? Why did you think to call me? But I found the information, called them back and gave it to them because, like you said, there's so many places to get the information that still some people just can't find it.
Will you be able to track through your stuff, or are you looking to track through your stuff? How successful, not successful, or how many of our visitors are going to Aspire?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. Yes.
That could prove to be very, they probably would love to have that.
They're looking at that too. I know that they are working with different platforms to track that information too.
Yeah, they've got an ad agency.
We can do it for, any of our attractions or our businesses, tourism related businesses that are looking for that information. We can definitely look for it. And I can send you some information, look through for, a lot of times we use Norris Dam because it's TVA, I guess, technically owns it, but it's a public spot.
Yeah.
So I usually use Norris Dam to send out to people to show them what kind of information we can get.
So you'll get the data from that and say, here's what's going on at Norris Dam, and we could do this for you too.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Exactly.
Are there any new attractions on the horizon that you know about?
Not that I'm aware of. The campground and Aspire Park are our two newest.
Yeah.
So I know the Museum of Appalachia has other things planned with their restaurant, and a lot of, especially like AMSI and some of our other ones are always doing rotating exhibits and bringing in new things for people to see. So we usually put that information out there. They usually also put that out there. So.
Is there still quite a bit of demand for Green McAdoo, the museum up there, the Cultural Center?
Absolutely. Yeah, we took a trip with the state a couple the end of September. Okay. We went to Alabama and to Montgomery and to Selma and looked at their civil rights sites and how we can kind of bring back some of the things that they're doing. There's a National Civil Rights Trail. Okay. And we have the one location here in East Tennessee. They have a couple in Nashville and Middle Tennessee area, and then of course everything with Memphis. So the state is relatively we have a limited numbers or a small number of sites compared to what Alabama has. And so we're trying to look at what they're doing and try to bring those
the best
ideas
of what they
up
have.
To this area. So, but there's a couple of sites in North Carolina. There's some in South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi. So we can group all of those together and try to get people to take the whole entire trail.
You think about it. We've got the Green McAdoo Cultural Center. We've got, of course, the Atomic Museum, I still call it. Got the Museum of Appalachia. You've got everything from our past to the Coal Miners Museum. You've got all these museums from our past, and then you go to Oak Ridge. You've got that museum for our, both our past and our future. Norris Dam. There's a lot of important things that have happened in this county that, and we've got a lot of stuff to do in the county that I think we forget about from time to time.
And for me, and especially when I'm, taking travel writers or bringing somebody in to see these areas, it's the story that goes along with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love the Smithsonian. It's great. You go in, you see a lot of things, but there's not a whole lot of stories that go with those items. But when you look at, the Museum of Appalachia and you think about the people that came into this area, settled this area, had nothing, left their families, had nothing, and literally what they built. And I've told this story before too, I think, but one of my favorite things at the museum is this picture of a tree. And so basically the story is the man and his family came and settled this area, and they came late in the growing season. So he knew he had to get a garden going instead of building a house. So he had this big, huge carved out tree, and that's where they lived.
In the tree.
In the tree. And it had to be a big tree.
Until they could build in the spring.
Yeah, if you look at some of the cabins, it's probably maybe a step up from the cabins, but he knew he didn't have time to build a house. He couldn't take the time to build a house. He had to farm.
Food.
He had food. I mean, it's the hierarchy of need. He needed to feed his family, and so they lived in a tree.
And those stories.
They did what they had to do. So then, and the coal miners, just even with the Coal Creek War, the mining disaster, the headstones where the itinerant miners were buried.
Yes.
These are people that came here because they needed jobs. They worked. When the mining disaster happened, nobody knew who they were. They didn't know who their families were. They didn't have anybody to call. So could you imagine your son leaving to go work in a coal mine, and you never see him again, and you never know what happened. You never knew what happened to him because he died in a mining disaster. That just gave me chills.
I know. It is amazing. And again, a lot of us.
Well, the women, when the mining disaster happened, it killed all but 2 of the men in the community. Mm-hmm. So could you imagine? I mean, you're taking a community of a couple hundred men, and they're all gone. And now it's women and children. Yeah. And there was a series that came out. It was about another mine. I don't think it was even true, but it was kind of similar to this, and it really made me think.
The great aunt that I mentioned a minute ago, her husband died in that mining disaster.
Mm-hmm.
And she was they were young. Yeah. I think she might have been 15 when it happened.
Yes.
They were married.
Yeah.
He died in that. So and I didn't even know that. I mean, my uncle, I didn't know that she was married before him, and somebody died in the mining disaster until she was way up in age and talked about it.
Well, when we were in Selma, one of the girls that marched in the march was speaking. She was 13 years old at the time. Mm-hmm. And just to hear her perspective of it from a 13-year-old, she was just like, I really didn't know what we were doing. I just knew, I had to be there. I just knew it was important. And then I was told to go. And just to hear her story, and she said, and this happens so much, same thing with your aunt. People don't want to talk about things.
No.
They just don't. No. And she said, that's our problem, is all of these years, nobody wanted to talk about what we did, what happened, none of that. Yeah. What was done to us.
It was uncomfortable.
Yeah. Nobody wanted to talk about it. And I think a lot of times we're a lot more comfortable talking about history of 100 years ago because there's nobody around that lived it firsthand.
Sure.
But these are big stories, and these are important things that changed our nation right here in Anderson County.
Absolutely.
You can name about 5 or 6 things that happened here in Anderson County that changed not only our community, but our state.
Well, Joe's got that great
nation.
8. He's got that. We got to go on the same day, but that thing outside the what do they call it? The inscriptions.
Where the spire is. Yeah.
They've got, outside the restaurant, they've got on the patio, they've got these 8 great things that came from right here. It's just, it's good.
Oak Ridge.
Absolutely. It changed the world.
I mean, all the things, there's probably things out there they've created that we don't even know about.
Absolutely.
But just there's a list, I know, that's public of the things that were created out there and how much
cell phones
that has, And I mean, just with medics, with like CAT scan and all these different things, and how much that has just changed, the world that we live in.
We take it for granted. I mean, I talk about it, and I say it every time you hear. It's like, I need to go do that. I need to go to win, right? And then life starts happening, but really and truthfully, we've got some. I mean, you can do a daycation and not have to go 35 minutes up the road. And
when we were in Selma and talking to that 13-year-old, and I was thinking about what happened here in Clinton, and my son is 16 and he's in high school, and I could not imagine having to
leave and go to work and never come home.
Yeah, or with what happened here in Clinton, just going to a school, not knowing what you're walking into. I mean, it's just, I can't imagine as a 16-year-old how much that was to take on. Terrifying.
Yeah, kids are scared to go to high school today.
Exactly.
Much less if you're a different color and being integrated into a system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so just
there's a lot of history here.
Yes,
lots of history.
But I think a lot of times if you can take yourself and put yourself into that position, try to walk in somebody else's shoes. I know you don't know the whole picture of the experience, but I think you just have appreciation for what that person's had to go through.
Outside of what we saw the other day at Aspire at the restaurant at the Pearl, have you seen the other plaques and stuff that they've got along the trails? I haven't been out. I haven't either.
I haven't walked the trail yet. I haven't either. Yeah, but
if they have a motorized.
Well, you can do e-bikes, so I hear they're pretty awesome.
E-bike, there you go.
That might work.
Awesome. So, that might work for me.
But I know every time I drive by there, the parking lot's full.
Oh yeah.
And it's
Mike was here last week, and he was asking everybody to please be patient with them because they are slammed full. They have,
well, we waited so long for it, so and it's everybody was curious and wanted to see it. So,
and it's good. The food is good. It's reasonably priced. I haven't got to walk other than what we did. I haven't got to go walk on any of the trails or anything else, but it's going to be a nice asset for us.
And I know that some people have complained on Facebook, and I understand that. But so I'm always one of those, I just don't believe what people say sometimes. Sure. And so I thought, well, I'm going to look this up for myself. So I pulled up about 3 other restaurants that I think are comparable in food, because when we ate there, food's great. So I pulled up 3 other restaurants, and they are right in line.
Absolutely. With Connors,
Calhoun's, Aubrey's, all of those places. So,
No, it's the price point, they did really well.
They're actually cheaper. They were less expensive than some of the places too. Yes. So I think they've done,
Well, I think Joe really looked into the what people wanted and what they could afford. And, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because I know he wanted something really nice, but he also wanted something that you and me can go to. You know what I mean? Our families could go and enjoy. And I can't go and drop $200 a plate for food.
No.
Especially with,
I ate it. We ate at a restaurant the other night. My husband, my son, and my mother was with me, and we paid for all 4 of us, and it was $100.
Yeah. And
it wasn't. I'm not going to name the restaurant, but it wasn't Aubrey's. It wasn't.
Sure.
And I was like, okay, but by the time you get drinks and you eat, and we did have an appetizer, I will say that. I'll throw that in there. But we did not have any alcohol. It was just, soda and tea. And
$100 is easy for a family.
Yeah, it was
every time.
Yeah.
So it's reasonably priced. So go, if you haven't gone, check it out.
And I've worked with Mike and Amanda, the restaurant manager. I know Amanda's been employed for over a year before they opened, and they did a lot of research.
Oh yeah.
If you know Joe, he does his research. So they did a lot of research, a lot of thought went into everything out there, and you can tell.
They've got like a 2-week cultural training before they even get into training in the job. Just training about where these people are working at, what the background is. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of fun stuff.
Absolutely.
So hopefully folks will get out and enjoy it, and friends and neighbors and folks from out of town will come in.
Great place to visit.
When you have family members come in from out of town, you've always got somewhere interesting to take them.
Absolutely.
Stephanie, thank you for coming in.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Anytime. And let me know. We'll be back here December. I don't know where it falls in December, but if we need to move you, we'll move you.
We might need to move.
You just look at it and let me know.
Yeah.
All right. And have a happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Hey friends, it's Cougar from Rusty Wallace Nissan, and now until the 31st, we're going to take $5,000 off MSRP on brand new Nissans. That's right, $5,000 off MSRP on brand new cars. 24 Rogues, Pathfinders, Altimas, Frontiers, and more, $5,000 off MSRP. Amazing deals, and you still get our no-charge 200,000-mile warranty. So shop in those $5,000 off socks at RustyWallaceNissan.com.
Fast, tasty, mouth-watering pizza is the best way to describe our pizza at Pizza Express, voted the best pizza in Anderson County. Pizza Express also offers wings, salads, sandwiches, calzones, tromboles, and more. Listen up, WYSH and WQLA listeners. Take advantage of the carry-out special. Extra large, one-topping pizza, only $10.99. Call 463-0011. Pizza Express, 827 Clinch Avenue in Clinton, 463-0011. Let us derail your hunger.
Come Come, if you dare, to the Haunted Forest at Red Hill, 510 Red Hill Road in Andersonville, just 6 miles from I-75, across from Red Hill Baptist Church. See our Facebook page for the October date. It starts each night at dark, and the cost is only $10. You won't forget this experience. If you'd like to volunteer, or if you have questions, call 865-659-5693 or 463-7464. The Haunted Forest at Red Hill, where only the trees can hear you scream.
I'm Ann Backus, running for State House Representative in District 33. Your voice matters. I want to bring your voice back into the people's house. The issues that matter to us aren't getting a fair hearing in Nashville. We need action on affordable health care for all, including women, common sense gun safety, public education, not private vouchers, equality and equity for all. I'm Ann Backus. I'm asking for your vote for State House. I will make sure our voices are heard.
Paid for by Backus for Tennessee District 33 Treasurer David Mullen.
H&H Body Shop is a lot more than just a body shop. Here's Darla, co-owner.
We do mechanical maintenance, and we sell tires, and we can do any mechanical thing on a car that a person might go to several different places to do. Because several years ago, we realized people was in a hurry to get their car out of the shop so they could go get their brakes done, and we had the capability of doing all those things. We have all of the state-of-the-art equipment to do things. We have computerized alignment, and we have a mechanic that has credentials to work on just about any car.
So whether your car is torn up or just needs a tune-up, you only need H&H Body Shop. H&H Body Shop on North Main Street in Clinton. Call 457-9734. 457-9734. H&H Body Shop. There since 1960. There when you need them.
So on behalf of myself and all the Opry members of past and present and future, Luke Combs, you are now officially the newest member of the Grand Ole Opry.
Being inducted into the Opry by Joe Diffie and Vince Gill, two artists I grew up listening to, was one of the highlights of my life. Every time I'm on the Opry, I share the stage with my heroes and play the music that I love. There's nothing else like it, whether you're behind that microphone or out in the crowd. On any given night, you could see a once-in-a-lifetime performance or watch an artist get a surprise invitation to join the greatest family in country music. Even if you've seen the Opry once, you haven't seen it all. It's a blast, not just for fans, but for artists too.
See your favorite artists at the Grand Ole Opry, both classic and new. And stay tuned here to WYSH because we give away a pair of tickets to the Grand Ole Opry every Wednesday.
I'm Luke Combs, and I'll see you soon at the Opry, the show that made country music famous.
Thank you for listening to AM 1380 WYSH and Ask Your Neighbor. Make sure you tune in at 10 a.m. each day, Monday through Friday, right here on AM 1380 WYSH and BBB TV 12, or listen live online at WYSH Radio.